everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Always Open here in Los Angeles. We're doing a special few weeks of LA episodes. We're so glad you're here with us. And today on the show, we have two of my most favorite people in the entire universe. We've got Lindsey Washburn.
You say that every time.
No, I don't. And Elyse Willems.
You say that every time.
When I introduce you, actually, I do.
Oh.
No.
You guys are some of my favorite people.
Everybody's going to blush in this room.
I know.
All these
Oh, I
pale
put mine
white
on.
women.
I put mine on.
Oh, okay.
That's why it looks crazy.
I think it looks good. Both of your makeup looks fantastic.
Thank you. Barbara and I almost collided as I was exiting the bathroom from reapplying it.
And that's the first time I saw you since coming to LA,
Yeah.
so we hugged in the
Oh
bathroom.
my gosh, yeah. You were not here yesterday or the day before.
Yeah.
No, I was there the day
Oh,
before.
you were the day before, but you left earlier.
Yeah.
We didn't collide when that happened.
No.
2 ships in the night. In the middle of the day.
Yeah.
In the bathroom.
In the bathroom.
Well, I'm so glad you both are here.
I'm so glad you're here.
Yeah.
You've never been on the show before, actually.
I've never been on this show. I've been in this room a lot because this
Yeah.
is my podcasting room. Look at this.
Is it
Isn't
weird to have someone else hosting a podcast in this room?
No, it's
How
such
angry
a relief.
are you?
Well, so technically for the Funhouse podcast, by the way, Ryan and I switch off like hosting and producing duties, sort of.
Okay, so you're used to like someone else leading the charge. For a
Yeah,
bit.
it's really nice when that happens because I just go, what are we doing?
I love being a guest on
What's
other people's
going on?
podcasts.
Oh, it's so fun. I mean, this is no pressure.
Yeah.
And you behind the wheel, we know we're
Yeah.
in safe hands here.
And yeah, thanks for inviting me.
Now I'm going to fuck it up. I'm going to fuck up everything. No, I'm happy to have you both. Easy to get at you. You're right in the room next door.
Yeah, we work here.
That's true.
Yeah.
We're local.
We're using
Local
Funhouse's
talent.
place. Thank you guys for having us here, too. I appreciate it.
Anytime.
Easy.
Well, how's life been? I feel like I haven't seen you guys in a hot second.
It's been good. Lindsay and I just went to the fabric store over lunch.
Yeah, over lunch. And by lunch, she means my bag of combos.
She picked up a bag of combos at the fabric store.
What is there only one flavor of combos?
No.
No, there's
Oh.
several, but these ones there were pizza and there were cheese. And I was like, well, I'm going to get the one that has has cheese, but has more.
More ingredients.
Also, it's not real cheese. I'm aware of that. So,
What?
but that's what we did for lunch. And, sometimes you just got to work through lunch.
Yeah.
But how is life?
Yeah.
I think we work here and we enjoy it. And we have fun here.
yeah.
And we both have dogs.
outside of work?
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
you
we
got
both have dogs. Which we need to
pups.
get the dogs together.
I know.
I keep telling her this, and she goes, ugh, no.
That's not true at all.
I'm just kidding.
I feel like my dog is not, his name's Remy.
Yeah.
And he and Arlen, Lindsay's dog, have played together before. But
Yeah.
I feel like he's just a little bit of a curmudgeon sometimes where he's like, that's enough for me.
Remy is.
Yeah. So he's playful, but to an extent.
She's very playful, but she's actually mellowing out. And she played with my mom's puppy like a couple weekends ago.
Oh, cute.
And I think there were certain points where she was like, oh, all right, that's enough. So I was like, oh, she's
How long
growing
did I
up.
entertain this one for? Jesus.
Yeah, she's growing up. So I think they could get together and have a good time now.
And also, I feel like we're just enjoying the summer, going to Disneyland, women's soccer games.
Wait, really?
Everything's possible.
Yeah, not together, by the way.
Oh, that's just things you're both doing
that would
separately.
have been cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
How often do you go to Disneyland? Because you guys live here in LA. I feel like if I lived here, I'd go to Disneyland every other week.
So last year I went twice because I went with like my boyfriend's family and then I went with like my whole family because there's a lot of kids in my family. That was actually the first time I'd ever gone to Disneyland or like any theme park with like kids.
And
I
how
won't
was
say
it?
what I prefer, but it was nice. Like it's cute seeing like the kids be excited about stuff in Disneyland, which, I could just look in a mirror because I would be like, it's Disneyland!
Did
Yeah.
you drink less because you were with kids?
Well, so in Disneyland, you can't drink in there. They only serve alcohol in the cantina.
Really?
But in
Yeah.
California Adventure,
There's drinks.
beer gardens and stuff.
And I don't normally go to California Adventure. Like I would pick Disneyland over, the other one. But when we went with all the kids, we did the 2 days and we did California Adventure. And I was like, hell yeah, give me those beers, those overpriced beers.
I came to Anaheim a
was
few
nice.
months ago to go to an event, but I was staying in a hotel that was walkable to Disneyland.
Oh yeah, did
And
you
I
go?
was like, I'll just buy myself a day pass and like I'll even do the park hopper. Why
Did
not?
you?
I'll splurge. So I did.
Alone?
And alone. I went to California Adventure first. Had a great time. Did like the single riders lines for
of course.
everything.
That's awesome.
Still took a while because it was like a Friday, so it was pretty packed. But then I went over to Disney, and I went on I think Star Tours. Is that the ride?
Yes.
Where it's like you're in the thing trying to press buttons.
C-3PO
Oh, no.
freaking out.
Star Tours is like the old one in Tomorrowland. Smuggler's Run, the Millennium Falcon one, is that where there's like 3 people and you're pressing the buttons.
And it's like a screen and it's moving. I got some of the worst motion sickness of my life.
Oh, yeah.
In there.
You
I think
definitely
it was hot and like it was moving and I was trying to like look at the buttons and like I was just getting so fucked up that I had to leave the park. I was like, I can't physically go on any other rides. And
I love that you went on your own and were like, fuck it, I'm just going to go to an amusement park by myself.
Yeah.
Because I only know people who are season pass holders. I think that's baller and a huge flex to do because I love going to movies by myself.
I do too. I love doing a lot of things by myself. And I thought it would be like nice to go to the park. It's definitely more fun with people, I'd say that.
I will say I do see people say they don't feel comfortable eating alone or doing stuff alone.
Like at a restaurant?
Yeah, and I don't really get that. I maybe it is if you have had times in your life where you've gotten used to being with yourself, enjoying your own company or being alone. I'll do whatever.
I think a lot of people also are very focused on what people are thinking about them. And they're probably thinking, if I'm here alone, they might feel bad for me or think like I don't have any friends. And it's just like, or like, first of all, who cares what other people think? They're all focused on their own lives to begin with. But also like, it's so nice to do something by yourself because you don't have to worry about what anyone else wants. Not that that's a bad thing, like especially if you're in a partnership that you really enjoy spending time with that person. But when you just go to a restaurant and you're like, where do I want to eat? What do I want to have? I could just like read my book or just be on my phone.
What time is that movie at? I bring a framed photo of James with me, and I just set it opposite me.
Do you face
She
it
does
at
buy
the
2
movie?
seats and say,
Yeah,
table for
and
2,
I pretend I'm a
please.
widow too, so I get free stuff. Not really.
It's
actually-
late husband's birthday. So then you also get the birthday cake.
You're like feeding him the cake into like picture frame, just smearing it on his mouth.
I mean, I'll go to... I think at this point, I don't really like to go to movies, though. So I'm like, would I go to a movie by myself? And I go, I wouldn't go to a movie with a big group of people because I'd be like, no, I'll just wait for 3 months and watch it on nice TV and stuff. But I think I wouldn't mind going out to eat by myself because, that exact reason. Like, you just eat whatever you want.
Walk in and
Though
go.
I see you as a very like independent, capable person, and I could see you being the kind of person that you would travel on your own.
That's like a big leap. That's a big...
I feel like you have to be so happy with yourself, I think,
Well,
right?
and also just as a woman, you have to be confident that you're safe. Yeah.
It's the safety issue, I think, that keeps me from traveling by myself.
That's what it is.
Yeah, or maybe you do a group thing, but you've got to rely on it, or they're going to be fun people in this group that I'm interested in, like strangers.
Yeah.
You know, I know somebody who just went on one of those group things. We both know them. I won't give their identity.
I'm going to use context
to protect
clues. Someone you both know.
They went on a trip, and they were the youngest person on this trip. It was mostly like retirees.
Was it a
older
baby
people.
that we both know? It's the youngest
This
person.
infant. Oh.
It was little baby Huey, and he's a Funhouse collaborator.
I take his picture everywhere I go. Yeah, it's Trevor and I are thinking about going to Japan at some point, but we've never been. And we're like, well, it'd be nice to go with like another couple or like even like 2 other couples.
This couple right here.
Yeah, I was just like,
we'll
if
go
you
to
guys want,
Japan.
I'd be totally down. But it's like trying to pick people who like, you could have a good time with, who aren't going to be too bossy or too like, whatever you guys want to do.
Yeah.
So it's like finding that perfect balance of like your travel companionships. But
Something I do when I travel now, the last few years, is say I'm going to like France or Paris. I would go online and search for like however many days I have available that long for an itinerary that someone else has planned.
Oh, yeah.
So I'd search 3-day itinerary Paris and then see what comes up. And usually people are pretty on with here's what you absolutely need to do. You can kind of fill in some flavor yourself.
Yeah.
But overall, this is what you want to hit.
And you know what's
really
a really
smart.
good resource for that, like exact kind of thing, and like personalized, like, or not personalized, but like more custom restaurant recommendations and stuff like that. TikTok.
I was going to say,
Oh, yeah.
I've bookmarked so many videos of people being like, if you're traveling to Tokyo, here's 3 places you need to go. Or like, here's what you should do to prepare before you go.
And so in September, I'm going on a trip to England, and Scotland, and so I'm constantly getting like stuff in my TikToks now and my For You page.
The algorithm knows.
Yeah, it's like, what do you want to go see some gray skies in Scotland? I go, yes, I do. Give me more of that shit.
This is the perfect transition to my first question that I have for us today.
Okay.
And this is, I'll tell you why I wanted to ask you guys this question, but are there any conspiracy theories that you believe or feel could have some truth to them?
Wait, Barb, what's the transition?
So this,
wait a second.
the reason that I want to ask this question is because there is a conspiracy theory that I am somewhat believing, which is the Britney Spears shit.
Oh,
Are you guys aware of this? There's like this whole thing. Something is really weird with Britney Spears, especially like if you go to her Instagram page, there's like,
I really feel for her.
but like to the point where people think like it could be a filter and someone else is pretending to be here. Some people think it's AI. Some people think like.
So that's the biggest one that I'm seeing right now is the one where people think that it's somebody using a filter to post videos on her account.
So people think that she's like still active.
Fine.
And, like,
Yeah, but it's
especially, I know she's posted a lot of stuff recently about reconciling with her mom and her sister. And so I could see
After
how
the
that would fuel
conservatorship.
that.
There's
flame.
like people who do like breakdowns of videos that are like, you see this thing in the background, it's not in the background of this one. And like, here's the thing is like, there's one video where they like reposted it and they changed stuff. So you go, oh, well, that's fake. But then you look at the real video and then like there is one video of her and she's like dancing and there's like little yellow flowers in the background. And then like, you know, how she cuts in her videos. So it just cuts to her doing another move and then they're gone.
Yeah. There's just a lot of things that
Why?
I don't necessarily believe the whole like, oh, that could be someone else pretending to be her, but there's just something
weird.
There's something off going on, and I feel like it's going to be really crazy when we find out what it is. There's some people who have a theory that like something has already happened to her and like they're trying to put in hints of her being unhinged and using drugs to like claim this like overdose story. And like I think something else came out about how like she's been using some type of drug and like people are like, oh, they're seeding the, you know.
But like, what is there to gain? That's
the confusing part to me. It's like I don't understand the reasoning for it, but
I'm like,
yeah,
oh gosh, I
it's
wanna
tough
look at her
because
TikTok.
obviously she went through
Look
a
at her,
really abusive
Instagram.
time in her life
Right.
with her family.
Instagram. Oops.
And I think everybody was just hoping the best for her. And also people were feeling really remorseful about maybe like jabs they made or ways that they were really critical of her in ways that we aren't of men. Obviously, there's
Sure.
all that context for that. Though I do think like she still emerged from that post period where she was in that conservatorship and needed some guidance or some help that she wasn't getting. It still seemed that way too. Like, and I think she needs genuine friends and people in her life that care for her. And this seems like, like a bigger conspiracy of is somebody really trying to sabotage this poor woman.
or just like are people still controlling her?
Yeah.
Like there's her husband, who I think his name is Sam.
Yeah,
He's in a lot of her posts.
that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's just things about like there's like this one video of him talking to her and it's clearly like a Photoshop in the background and there's like this weird stuff where I worry that like he's involved in whatever is going on.
I don't know.
Because it's like you get money involved and shit like
Yes.
that. Like things get fucked.
I saw a headline recently that Kevin Federline apparently is considering moving himself to Hawaii because in Hawaii you have to pay child support until the kids are age 23. So that would prolong that.
Yeah.
It's really kind of wild that you brought up this topic though on here, Barb, because I'm currently working on an episode of 30 Morbid Minutes podcast that I make.
Oh yeah, go check out 30 More Minutes.
Which is about celebrity death hoaxes.
Oh wow.
And which one of my favorite conspiracy theories ever is the Paul is dead conspiracy, which you probably know being a Beatles fan.
I've heard of that one, yeah.
Yeah, which is that Paul McCartney in 1966 was in a car accident, died, and then the record executives label swapped him with a lookalike that they had, reconstructive plastic surgery on.
Oh my God.
And the Beatles, following that period of time, had so much guilt and trauma from it that they hid clues in everything for it.
It's like,
Yeah, this used to be like years ago. If 15 years ago, if I was having a bad day, I'd log online and be like, I'm going to read about Paul is dead. 'Cause
Yeah.
It's just, I never believed it, but I was like, it's just a weird, fun thing to kind of go down that rabbit hole.
Isn't there a similar theory with Avril Lavigne?
Yes, I think there is. I haven't gotten to that working on that part in the script.
It's essentially the same thing of people think that she died or like wanted to like leave when like a lot younger and got replaced with someone who is like essentially her lookalike.
Yeah.
Because there are like little things about her that look very different, not in a way where it'd be like, oh, that's plastic surgery, but in like a actual fundamental way she's built.
People don't know what they're talking about. That's the thing is like they go, it's not like exactly what you just said. It's like not in the plastic surgery way, a fundamental way. And it's like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Or people try to find and surmise something from a place where there isn't anything.
Yeah.
With the Paul is dead stuff, people always point to the Abbey Road album art.
Oh, sorry.
And they say, this is the Beatles trying to tell you what happened because Paul is in a suit. He's got no shoes on. He's the corpse. John is in all white. He's Jesus.
They're just looking for the confirmation bias of their existing belief, which is a lot of what these conspiracy theories come from.
Yeah.
But they did that with Britney too. Like I've been following this conspiracy for a long time, not in a like this is 100% accurate, but just in a fascination kind of way.
Oh yeah.
And before the conservatorship was over and she was still like posting on Instagram and stuff like that, people would zoom in on photos of her and they're like, you could see in her eyelash that it's photoshopped. You could see HELP in her lashes. Or
that happens with Lindsey though. Anytime she makes a thumbnail, it's just,
just put help in the lashes.
This thumbnail needs to say help somewhere. So let's just keep that in our brain for later.
And fundamentally alter my essence.
Not cosmetically, fundamentally.
I don't know.
Wow.
I did spend a good 50 minutes one day when that one video showed up on my feed. I'm like,
yeah.
What are they saying? Oh, what?
It's a rabbit hole.
Yeah, you're right. Let me go check this. Let me go look at 100 Britney Spears TikToks. Like, why am I doing this?
I mean, if you go to her Instagram, it's just like there's just something like uncanny valley about everything she posts.
It's very like a lot of the captions and stuff that she writes. It's like when I was 13, I would write something like this.
Yeah.
Like
I love roses, 1,000 different emojis and stuff like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I thought this was cute.
You want to hope that maybe this is just somebody who went through a lot, maybe had a stunted upbringing because she was a child performer, and now she's just kind of in her fuck it era. She's weird, but the dark side is maybe there's something deeply troubling going on.
So that's just a conspiracy that I heard about one time and have latched on to.
Yeah.
I mean,
following it along.
Did you have more about Britney?
No.
I was going to say, I could lighten the mood and tell you about the conspiracy theory that I believe in.
Yes.
You believe in it? Dead.
I think that when they sell packs of socks, they make one that is a disintegratable and it disintegrates in the wash. And that's why you always lose a sock.
Oh, you think it actually disintegrates and disappears?
Yes. And so you have to buy more socks.
That is a crazy conspiracy.
That. You're bonkers. I love that.
Fundamentally.
I think that's true. Why? How else you gonna lose a sock?
The dryer eats it. It gets into the vent.
Or the dryer companies and the sock companies are in cahoots. And there's a secret little latch compartment we don't know about the dryer that takes the socks.
How does it know what's sock and not a piece of underwear?
It's like the women's pants and purse industry being in cahoots.
Wait. Oh, but the pockets.
They would start making women's pockets smaller so that people would have to buy purses.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's true. Don't quote me on it.
I would wager that is true.
I got big pockets.
You do. Oh my God, you do. You could fit a phone in that.
Yeah, I know. They're made well.
They are made well.
Mm-hmm. Well, these are made well too? Well, I'm sure obviously on this podcast, the feminine tax is something that comes up. We pay more for our products.
Pink pens versus blue pens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sure that exists.
And we could all be using pencils. So
when I was younger, I'm so embarrassed to admit this.
I'm on the edge of my seat.
I watched the documentary, I think it was called Loose Change, about the Twin Towers, 9/11.
Yeah.
About how it was planned by the government and all the stuff that it goes into and how
melting steel beams.
The beams and how they bent and the way it came down and it imploded on itself. That shouldn't have happened with this. And it was a 2-hour documentary.
Yeah.
And I think I was 12 when I watched it, 13 maybe. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
This was planned. And then as I've gotten older, it's, I've come to reality a little bit more. But those things like that do a good job at convincing people. And
Yeah.
I mean, nowadays, conspiracy
You were
theories are everywhere.
12 or 13? I think I was 13 or 14 when it happened.
I
think I was 13 when it happened.
I guess I maybe have been 13 or 14 when I watched the documentary because I was 11 when it happened.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense.
I would have been 14 or 15, I think.
I was 11 or 12.
We're all 24, so just round it out, right?
Yeah.
I think with conspiracy theories, it's fun to like go down the rabbit hole and say, what if? I personally like to try to debunk stuff, and I think it's
Well, you do a true crime podcast,
Yeah.
so I feel like that's your MO, right?
and so I think it's fun to like entertain it as this is such what a wacky thing to think, or how the creativity that went into trying to make this seem plausible.
Yeah.
But I do think there's like a harmful nature to conspiracy theories
sure.
to an extent.
Yes.
I mean, as
But-
we've seen in the last 8 years,
Yeah.
especially.
Oh,
Yeah, with misinformation. Though there's also something to be said for conspiracy theory that, like what we're doing now, just hang out with your friends and you have fun and you talk about it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But take everything with a grain of salt, essentially.
Yeah. Which I feel like you always see that meme going around, which is before the internet, we would just live with misinformation. You would go to your aunt and you would be like, hey, like, what's 2 + 2? And she'd say 5. And you'd be like, okay.
Wow.
You know, I have nowhere else to check this.
Or like a friend in high school telling me if you cross your eyes and you get hit in the back of the head, your eyes will stay that way. Like shit like that, where it's like you grew up believing this stuff and then you never cross your eyes in public because you don't want someone accidentally hitting you on the back of your head.
And there was no way to know. And there's something kind of like nostalgic about that period of time.
Yeah.
When we were just living with our stupidity.
I know. That's the thing is when I see a new conspiracy theory, like I just described when I saw the Britney Spears stuff, I was like, and it was like dopamine hits and like that happiness, like that. I was like, oh, this is crazy. And like, I'm entertained. And then when I get to the end and I like, my brain goes, well, no, that doesn't make sense. No, that's not real. Oh, well, no, that. And then I go, I'm too smart.
Yeah.
When something comes out in a year from now about Britney Spears, we'll all be looking back on this episode.
There's
going,
something.
She knew.
We do know there's something. We know there's something.
The government a black van will pull up and be like, ladies, I need you to get in here right now.
But like, I don't think somebody's using a filter to like put on her face.
I don't know maybe she's using a filter to make
Maybe.
herself look a
Maybe.
certain way.
Yeah.
But it's just she literally looks the same in every single video, like makeup smeared under her eyes.
Does she have tattooed eyeliner? I thought that she had it tattooed.
I don't think so.
Oh. That was my
Is that your conspiracy theory?
Because she always has that same eyeliner for years and years. So I just thought maybe she got it tattooed.
I'm back on the
No,
gram.
this one is like kind of smudged under her eyes, and like it almost looks like when you rub your eyes after wearing makeup.
Yeah.
and it's kind of just under there, not in like a crying
I thought it
kind
was a
of way.
permanent thing.
No, it's always. I mean, maybe it is permanent. It's always there.
Yeah.
It's always there.
Anyways,
a lot of red heels on the captions in
Yeah.
a lot of the photos.
well, that was
Anyways,
I don't know. See that. I'm gonna get down a quick little rabbit hole,
Please.
But there was a video I saw on TikTok of this woman talking about how, thinking that this is not the real Britney Spears because Britney is I think like 5'2" or 5'3", and Sam, the guy she's dating, or she's 5'4", guy she's dating or is married to, Sam, is 6'2", and they're like, see, you see them in this photo together, and like she's wearing heels, but she's still like up to here on him. So even if she was wearing 6-inch heels, she would still only come up to like this area of him. And like that was a recent video. But then
the internet.
But then they started posting these photos after that video came out of all these things about heels. And so I'm like, are they watching the conspiracy videos? Is he posting on her behalf on that account?
What the heck?
Yeah.
I don't know. But here's a picture of them where.
But they posted that after that video came out. So I wonder if he's like, see, I need to prove that it's the real Britney to show how short she is.
Oh my gosh. Weird.
I'm just saying, it's weird. You're going to go down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to deal with this later, I guess. I was seeing if I could find the video of like.
Like
the
you
thing
said,
with
I'm gonna have to deal with this later. Like this is something you have to do.
I do. I'm gonna
just
'cause I'm gonna
curiosity.
open my phone later and go, what was I looking at? I'm seeing if this is the one with the yellow flowers. You see the yellow, and they're gone. They're gone. They're gone
Yeah.
now.
Oh
And there's
my
things of
gosh.
like her bottom teeth don't show, which is like a common thing when you're doing like AI or like a filter of something, and like a hand disappearing or like green screen. It's a whole thing. I could talk about it for a while.
Gosh.
Just because I'm so fascinated. The key to dinnertime success? Variety. HelloFresh keeps your taste buds on their toes with 40 chef-crafted recipes to select from every week. From family-friendly to fit and wholesome, you'll always find new and exciting recipes to try and love. HelloFresh is the perfect way to banish the end of summer blues. No need to stress about how you'll handle it all this fall because HelloFresh takes care of the meal planning and delivers pre-portioned ingredients right to your home, so whipping up a homemade meal is a breeze. And all you need is 15 minutes, and you'll be able to enjoy tasty and satisfying meals made in your own kitchen. Just look out for their quick and easy dinner options, plus quick breakfasts and lunches too. Trevor and I love HelloFresh because not only do we get the exact ingredients we need, so there's no food waste or anything like that, but we also learn how to cook different types of foods and different meals through all their different options and menu options that they give us. It's amazing. There's a cheese tortellini that we've had the recipe for ever since we got it with HelloFresh, and we make it all the time. It is incredible and so easy as well. So try HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. Just go to HelloFresh.com/50open and use the code 50open for 50% off plus free shipping. Once again, that's HelloFresh.com/50open and use the code 50open for 50% off plus free shipping. Enjoy your meal. But let's get into our level-headed people who sent in questions.
Okay.
I want more
me.
Barb questions.
All right. So this question reads, I've been married to my wife for nearly 4 years and been together for over a decade now. But I'm still really bad at sharing my feelings, specifically when I'm annoyed about something my wife has done. I usually just end up giving the silent treatment when I'm annoyed, even though I know talking to her about it will make it much better and faster than waiting for her to bring it up how I'm being silent and must be annoyed. It's not out of fear of how she will react because it always goes smoothly once we finally do talk about it. I think it's just that I'm really bad at sharing my emotions. Any tips on how to open up? Is it just toxic masculinity showing?
This guy doesn't want to talk to his wife? Is that what I'm understanding?
Just to summarize this question.
It seems like if he gets annoyed by something she does, he just goes silent on her. So if he's mad at her about something,
his default response is to emerge or go into his cocoon of silence,
and then he waits for her to be like,
"What's wrong?
What's wrong? Like, are you not talking to me? What's up?" And then when they finally talk about it, they work through it, and it's fine, and it's always easy.
I kind of get it, but not from I don't think that's the right way to approach this situation.
Sure.
But I get it from the perspective of sometimes feelings are complex, and you don't even know why you're feeling a feeling you're feeling.
Yeah.
And
true, though.
I just have times where I'm having a hurdle with accurately articulating my feeling in a way where I also don't want to, like, say, for example, in my own marriage, like, I don't want to offend my husband in the way that I'm going to present this to him. Like, I'm afraid that I'm going to phrase things in a way I don't intend. And so I could see how maybe it's not that he has toxic coping mechanisms. It's that it just feels daunting to try to communicate.
It could also be rooted in toxic masculinity where, a lot of men who grew up, especially in North America, are taught to, like, don't
suppress.
show emotion, don't cry, don't get, like, emotional over
don't
this.
feel.
Don't let them in. Don't let them win. But I think also, if you've been married for 4 years and been together for a decade, I imagine you and your wife are very comfortable together, and you should feel vulnerable with her, or the ability to be vulnerable with her. And I know for, like, Trevor and I, who's my partner, one of the, like, strongest things in our relationship is communication, luckily, because that's, I think, needs to be very strong in a working relationship. But if something upsets me or upsets him, or if I say something or do something that upsets him and vice versa, immediately
you
talking.
could never upset anyone.
Oh, I'll try. But it's like, it's something that the other person might not even realize that they did or said in a way that hurt you. But we tend to talk about things right away of just like, hey, when you replied that way, it made it seem like you were really, like, ignoring me, or, like, didn't care about what I was saying, or, like, you felt very impatient with me. And it's like, oh my God, like, let's sort that out. I'm sorry I did that. Like, I'll be more mindful in the future. And it's so much easier to do that.
Yes.
Than to bottle it in.
Yeah.
I think that, like, if it's something where you're at any moment, something is annoying you and you're like, I don't really know how to bring it up. If you kind of pre-program, like, regular check-ins, that can kind of help too. Like, and it's just something that I see people talk about doing is like, oh, well, just like every week we just talk about like what's going on in our work week and our regular life and everything. And like that way that's like the icebreaker for maybe you talking about something that's, more heavy.
Similar to that, I saw this Instagram reel. Probably was a TikTok, but I see them late.
So it's
3
probably
weeks
like
later.
3 months old.
This woman talking about how she and her partner, they do this thing every day where they check in emotionally with each other when they come home, and they have a gauge of.
I know exactly the video.
Yeah,
so
I did see that too.
Yeah, she'll come home and she'll say, "I am at like a 60% where I only have 30% left to give," or he'll come home and say, "Well, I'm at an 80, and I've got more, so I can give a little bit more." And I think that's a really interesting way to quantify that emotional energy you have.
Because some people might come home and be like, I got 20.
Yeah.
And it's like, cool, so you'll just do your own thing tonight and like maybe order dinner and like not bother. Or if it's like, yeah, I'm at an 80, so I'll cook while you relax. And
The problem is if you're like every day you come home and you go, I got 5%.
I got negative.
Sometimes that happens too. And I think if you have a partner who's at least just understanding, but also like at that point it's like get help.
Yeah.
Which is I've done that.
There
I need help.
be a
Therapy's always
bigger
good.
underlying issue if you're coming home every day like that.
Yeah.
To what you said about the bottling it up, though, I do think that is long-term problematic, because imagine if you have a vase inside of you and you're constantly bottling these things up and there's pressure happening and you don't realize like this vase is slowly getting chipped away at. You might release the pressure eventually, but in the meantime, while it's in you, you're building that resentment.
Right.
And resentment, I think, is like a long-term killer of relationships. You don't see it growing. You don't see it coming.
No.
Yeah,
You're right.
But it definitely builds. I also want to point out, too, something that I think I saw on TikTok as well. I know we use that as an example a lot, but like the algorithm knows what it knows its audience. But there was one video I saw one time about how sharing your feelings sometimes, like if someone did something to annoy you or anger you, there's fear in you calling them out and you making them feel bad about what they did. And that, I don't think, if you're in a healthy relationship, hopefully should be an issue, because you should be able to be honest and vulnerable and like, hey, what you did actually did really hurt me, and not worry about like them being like, oh, I'm an awful person, I'm the worst, blah, 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 blah. Because that's like, you don't want it necessarily to become that. And maybe that's something you're fearing in this. Like if you're annoyed at your wife and not wanting to like immediately tell her how you feel, maybe it's because you don't want to hurt her feelings.
I wonder if like having the conversation with your wife and saying, sometimes I get this feeling like it's not that I don't want to communicate with you, but I just feel like I can't, or I have a hurdle to do it. Maybe she'd be like, what? That's wild.
Yeah.
Just in general, I can't help but wonder all the things that he might be doing that are annoying her.
True that.
I don't know. You never know. You never know.
Yeah, with these kind of things, you get the one side.
And if that is a thing, and they do talk about it, because maybe she brings it up, ask her too. Like,
how do you feel about all this?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It also just makes life easier. To like the silent treatment, I've definitely been guilty of doing that in past relationships, where it's just like, I'm mad at him and now he needs to approach me about it, and I'm just gonna like sit here quietly because I'm upset.
If you don't know, I'm not going to tell you.
Yeah. But and like if that's kind of how you react when you're upset about something, maybe even just being like, hey, I'm kind of upset about what just happened, so if you could just give me like a little bit of time and then we could talk about it. Like that, it's not quite giving the silent treatment, but it's giving explanation and context to why you're maybe reacting that way.
Not icing someone out.
Yeah.
Like thinking, I need a minute before I can approach this in a rational, adult, healthy way.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But at the end, he asks if there's any tips on how to open up.
Well, here's what I would say. Whenever anybody asks me for any advice, relationship or work or anything, I will give a whole spiel. I'll do everything we just talked about. Yeah, and this is that, and that is this. And then I go, but I don't know. Go find a therapist.
Yeah.
That's because I don't have good advice.
I mean, I
that's the only way I can deal with my own shit.
None of us know what we're talking about on the show. We're just giving our life perspective and things we've read or that we've used in our life.
I've been playing Switch this whole time.
Wow, without looking, that's impressive. How do you do that? That's going to be my question for you. But yeah, I definitely seek help if you need.
Yeah, I agree with Lindsay, though I also kind of think maybe having the conversation before you get into whatever your next, not argument, but like disagreement or something might be that could prompt a reaction like this. Have the conversation. The check-in or talk about like, hey, I know sometimes when we get into these situations, I can kind of give you the silent treatment. I don't want to be doing that.
Yeah. So like, what do you like? Is there something we could do together that might help that situation?
And not putting the onus on your wife or your partner, but maybe even just making them aware. Like, this is a behavior I know I have, and I don't want to be doing it.
Yeah, and it's very common.
Yeah,
I just want to say that too. Like, don't think that you're in a weird, very unique scenario. I feel like that happens in a lot of relationships and couples and stuff like that. Yeah. People giving each other the silent treatment, not knowing how to express their emotions, but also like take comfort in the fact that your wife loves you and like you guys are partners in this, and she should be understanding, and you should be able to feel like you could open up about how you're feeling and not be judged or that it's going to affect your relationship. Because maybe it comes from like fear of past relationships where if you argued or if you had a big fight, it would potentially end the relationship.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's a good point.
Good luck. My secondary advice would be stop being a baby.
Oh,
I'm just kidding.
That's kidding. I mean, no, that's the same thing. It's like, find a therapist. Those are all great pieces of advice. We've given you a lot to work off of, I think.
Oh, damn.
Right. Well, let's move on to our second question.
Dag, yo.
I'm just kidding. We love you. We hope you find the strength to open up because just be yourself.
You don't deserve another Barbara Dunkelman scorcher either. So
few and far between on this show. All right, here is our second question. So, I have a friend who started dating a guy a little less than a year ago. At first, I liked him. They seemed to be a good fit. They were always out drinking and partying together, and she seemed to have fun. But a few months in, he ended up pushing her down the stairs and throwing her makeup on top of her. I told her to leave him, but she said that he had apologized and wanted to give him another chance. Later on, he took her with him when he went on a business trip, where even though he promised not to drink, he got drunk and would not give her his keys, driving drunk and mad. People at the hotel called the cops on him, and they still stayed together. A few months ago, he threw a glass liquor bottle at her and pinned her down and choked her. The cops told her it was out of her hands. He was going to court, but he ended up just having to go to rehab. All this to say, she texted me the other day and asked if I would be her maid of honor if they got married in the next year or so. I told her I loved her, but I couldn't do it because I really can't stand by her decision to be with a man who's hurt her so much. I know she's upset with me, but I can't support her in this. I don't know how to show her that she can do so much better. Do you guys have any ideas?
Holy shit.
Heavy question. Well, first of all, I don't think you are in the wrong for not wanting to support her.
Yep.
And if she, for some reason, does make that decision to marry that person and you do not support that, then I think you are in the right for not.
Yeah. Well, I think like supporting her in all other areas.
Yes.
But not supporting her in this.
Yeah.
In marrying him.
I know this is easier said than done, and you've probably done this, but I would do everything you can to try to get her out of that situation.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like this person is violent, is dangerous, is probably not going to change unless they get serious help, and which hopefully they are.
Yeah, and this is tough too because we don't know the minutiae of the situation of like, does this person's like family know as well how they're being treated or other friends?
A lot to think about.
God, this is like a tough one. And I feel really like fortunate and grateful that I've had friends that have been in situations where they've been with somebody that is not the best to them, but never where it's like they're
violent.
Yeah, they're getting constantly abused or anything like that.
Yeah, I would say I haven't had any. I've had a friend who I never really thought it was a good idea from the beginning, and I was like, and then they got divorced 4 or 5 years later.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And she's much happier now, but it was like still the same thing where I didn't think it was right all the time.
Yeah.
But I was just trying to be supportive of her, even though in the back of my head I was like, I always dislike this guy. But it's way less severe because he didn't beat her, so
I know. It's such a
he didn't
extreme.
abuse her in that way. There's, I'm sure, like mental abuse maybe, but I'm just like, and it's really hard because I couldn't do it.
Well, especially when you have a friend who obviously you care about and love and want the best for, and see that they're in this situation that they're just like, no, it's fine. He apologized, or he's getting better. And it's like, again, you don't know the minutia of it. Like, maybe it has turned around. Maybe he is seeing someone and getting help and like is improving. But I think, like, I'm sorry, if that happens once, done.
Yeah.
Absolutely done. It doesn't matter if they get better or if they improve themselves. Like, they've already showed that they are capable of doing that to you. And
we do know that leaving an abusive relationship is easier said than done.
Absolutely.
And it's not your friend's fault for why she's still in that relationship or why she feels like she can't get out. And it's like there are a billion reasons why victims find it difficult to get out of these situations.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and the thing is, like, she may not even see herself as a victim, which is also the sad part of it too, because that's also something like nobody wants to see themselves as a victim, right? Like, she may not even see that she's being victimized,
Or they just focus on the good in that relationship and don't see, they put their blinders on to essentially everything else and are just like, well, he's so sweet to me in this situation, or like, oh, he's apologized. And it's like, because usually with those relationships, the highs are so high, but the lows are also so low. And so like people tend to just focus on the positives to convince themselves that like it's okay that I'm with this person.
There's a whole psychological bedlam of
for
stuff
sure.
related to it.
It's also like, how long have they, been together?
Right.
How long has it been going on? Has it been something that's been really rapid?
Oh, little less than a year ago.
Oh, so this is really...
This is all within a year.
So, and I will say this as well, that I was also at one point, like, not in a physically abusive relationship, but very manipulative, and it was about a year and a half, and that's how long it took for me, because, and it wasn't like extreme highs, extreme lows, but it was like constant gaslighting, constant, like, he was a heavy drinker, and that was a problem too. But it took about a year and a half for me to be like, I'm smarter and better than this. Like, this is stupid. What am I doing? And it just, that's when it broke up.
It's a lot to do with that.
Sometimes it takes time.
Yeah,
too.
Absolutely. And like her friend's self-worth could be, fairly low, or confidence could be low, and it could
I can
play
imagine
into
it
that.
it probably is.
And oftentimes, like, when you're with an abuser, part of their abuse is they keep your confidence low.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't behoove them for you to feel good about yourself.
You feel like you can't leave them.
Yeah, or feel empowered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably a huge part of it.
Yeah. I just, at the end of the question here, she says, like, I don't know how to show her that she could do so much better. And I think a lot of that is just having, like, some serious conversations, like maybe go over to her place or have her over at your place or go out for coffee, or I don't know what the best scenario and situation to do this in, but, like, have that discussion of, like, I love you and this person does not treat you how you deserve to be treated, and I can't support that.
I also think if there was a way for them to, like, find and share stories of, like, really healthy couples and relationships, that could help too, because I think if you can have that in your thoughts more, or like see it in front of you more, then you're like, oh, my shit's messed up. Because that was part of it for me too. I was like, this is messed up.
Yeah, like, why aren't I getting any of that?
Yeah. And you could go, oh wow, people just should, not push me down the stairs.
Yeah. And you don't know their history, their family history. Maybe their parents had a dysfunctional relationship and they don't, like you're saying, they don't know any different. It's such a complex and complicated. I'm sorry. I feel like we can't. I don't know that we have the best advice to give. I know there are so many resources out there of what you could give to somebody or how you can help somebody who is trapped in a relationship like this.
Yeah.
The fact that you care enough to be asking that question and want to get them out says a lot about your character too.
Yeah. And maybe she's just upset with you too because she knows deep down that this is not good for her, but she, like, you also saying, like, I can't stand by you if you're going to be with this guy, just as, like, one other person kind of abandoning her in this situation, and, like, she feels like she doesn't have your support.
But like Elyse said, show up in all the other areas and support in all the other ways.
But, yeah, I think just, like, continually reminding your friend that she's deserving of love and respect, and she can find that. It might suck to end this relationship, and, like, deal with the consequences of that, but maybe give her a safe space if she needs to get out of there quickly.
Yeah.
Also, I'm sure there are lots of other people in their lives that don't know how he's been treating her.
Right.
And it's like, well, how would they react if they did know?
Yeah.
You know? I don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
God.
sending you love, sending your friend love. Please
Yeah.
keep us updated if anything changes. But I would say I totally think your decision to not want to support that relationship and be part of the wedding is 100% justified.
Yeah. I think you're right.
Well, I'm sorry for the heavy questions.
No, they're important.
What about the one guy
Yeah.
who doesn't want to talk to his wife? Let's talk about
Let's talk
that
about that again. But I do want to just reiterate too, and you mentioned this before, we are not experts.
No.
We are not mental
Right.
health specialists or therapists or anything like that. So do take our advice and our thoughts with a grain of salt. We're just kind of using our perspective and experience to try to help.
And when I
give some
hear
thoughts.
stuff like this and people ask questions, my brain is immediately somersaulting, like, oh my God, I don't know. What should you do? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm like, there must be some website I can point them toward that can help them.
Yeah, and I'm like, and then I think of all the stipulations of well, is this, maybe that,
Yeah.
maybe I don't know.
I'm like, me, a clown prince, is supposed to know what to tell them to do about in this situation.
Me, tiny little mushroom man.
Yeah. Well,
Oh no, here's what you do.
yeah. Pop off the top of my mushroom.
Yeah.
And I swirl around the brain to get it
Big
working.
I want fan art of that immediately. Well, thank you for your questions. If you do have a question for us on the show, you could email that to alwaysopen@roosterteeth.com. We would love to hear from you and give our unsolicited, well, I guess it would be solicited advice.
Solicited, but
Unprofessional.
And just know if you are watching this or anybody out there, just know you are deserving of love and respect.
yes.
And you are worthy of all of it. Well, thank you both for joining us today.
Is that the end?
That's it.
Oh,
That's the
no.
show. Do you guys want to plug anything? Any projects you're working on? Where people can find you on social media? Lindsay?
Lindsay.
Do I want to plug anything?
How hard could it be?
How hard could it be? That's the show that I've been doing on this very channel, Good No Worries. It's sort of like a craft DIY show. I literally look at a project, and a lot of times it's something I see on TikTok. I go, how hard could that be? I'm going to try that. So
Turns out sometimes very.
sometimes it's very hard. And there's also,
Sometimes it's hard, not because of the project, but because what's in your system.
oh yeah, there was the one where we made tiramisu and we were under the influence. But it's a fun
favorite
show,
episode.
and it is a lot of work. And there's also that level of vulnerability that we have to embrace, because we don't know what we're doing, and people are going to watch it.
Yep.
And they're going to be like, why are you doing that, idiot? I go, I don't know.
That's me on the show every week.
I'm just trying to do it because I thought I could do it. But, learn from my mistakes too, I guess.
Yeah. You'll also see Lindsay just being funny on Funhouse
Absolutely.
daily, on the daily.
Sometimes depends on whether or not I had a bite out of my Jersey Mike sandwich or not. If I've eaten
That's a specific reference.
a specific reference.
But also true in a lot of regards. We were talking earlier today how, if I'm in a bad mood, the solution is probably eating food.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then I'm better.
And it's really hard to come do this kind of stuff if you're hungry or thirsty or tired.
Yeah.
And you're just expected to suddenly be entertaining, be funny, and be whatever. And you're like, oh,
Energetic.
shit, hang on a second. I need to
Where's
eat.
that Jersey Mike's?
Yeah, where's that Jersey Mike's?
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, catch me around, hanging out with my dog. That's it.
You haven't been keeping up with your plant Instagram, which really bothers me.
I did
You have a plant Instagram?
Yes, I had 4 posts, and then I was like, I just care about taking care of the plants. Because at first I was like, oh, I want to show people all the plants all the time. And I did. And then I was like, no, I just want to make sure they stay alive.
Oh,
But I should take some pictures and share them.
I would love that.
I have 40 plus plants.
Holy crap.
Yeah, I take care of a lot of plants.
Trevor has plants too, and he calls them his gentlemen.
Oh,
It's like, I need to go take care of my gentleman. Sounds
Cute.
I love
That's
that.
very cute. What about you, Elyse?
What about you,
What's some projects you're working on nowadays?
Funhouse. You can find me here all the time. 30 Morbid Minutes, which is a podcast where we talk about morbid things.
Wonderful. Go check it out on all podcast platforms.
Thanks, Barb.
You're welcome.
We just did a RPG series called Barbie Didn't Do It,
Yep.
where I was GMing it, and then Lindsay is one of the Barbies in it.
It was really fun.
It was a lot of fun.
Me and Charlotte were the 2 Barbies who were Barbie's friends. So our names, we had different names, but it was really fun. We were trying to find
Candy
out.
and
Georgette.
Yeah,
Georgette.
they're very funny, and their real life friendship also shines a lot in their their fake RPG friendship.
I can't keep up with her. She's so
I don't
funny
know.
and quick.
You
Charlotte.
two-
All of you are. What do you?
You two are so complimentary to each other in that
The women
show
at Funhouse are
and
some of the
life.
funniest women I've ever met in my whole life.
that's
Funniest
really
people I've met in my whole life.
Likewise, Barb. I gotcha.
thanks.
Are you doing anything that's not Rooster Teeth that people can find you? That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
Not right now.
You've written some books. You've been part of writing for video games.
Yeah, but
Find her on Instagram hanging out with her dog.
yeah,
maybe.
Yeah.
that's what it always comes down to. Barb, when you getting that dog?
Soon.
You get a dog?
We want to get a dog. It's just we have no responsibilities now, and so to go from 0 to
It's
100
nice.
is a
That's-
decision.
It was a
travel a
trend.
lot.
Yeah. Well, so because you guys have had a dog for a while, and then you took some time
Yeah.
for yourself, and then you adopted. Going from not having a dog and not having any responsibility. In someone in my 30s, I've been just like living the free life, and then I was like,
La vida loca.
shit, I got this dog.
Yeah.
And it took a while, but I feel like just now, and it's been a year and a half, almost 2 years. So keep that in mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm feeling like we're in a groove.
Did you get them as a puppy?
She was 5 months old when
Okay.
we adopted her. So yeah.
Yeah,
She's-
we're thinking about getting like a puppy,
it's
but
really, really worth it. Elyse was the one who like convinced me. She didn't convince me like personally. She wasn't like, you should get a dog.
just her
But-
having and dogs
Yeah,
and
and
taking
just
such
their
good care of them.
passion for dogs
Aw.
and fostering and adoption. So I was like, I want to do that. 'Cause
Yeah.
I bet it feels really great. And it did.
And you're a good dog mom. You're a great dog mom.
She's cute.
She's really cute. And
We'll get there,
Yeah.
but because I want to have a cute dog too. I want
What
people
about an
to
ugly
tell me.
dog?
I'll have any dog. All dogs are cute and
All
precious
dogs are
and
cute.
sweet. But yeah, someday. Well, thank you both.
thanks,
Thanks for
Barb.
having
Thanks for
us.
being here. Check them out on Funhouse and all the podcasts and all the shows we mentioned. Go support these wonderful ladies and everything that they do. And thank you for watching this episode of Always Open. We are so thankful that you're here joining us every single Tuesday for new episodes. So we'll see you next week. And make sure to subscribe to the All Good No Worries YouTube channel.